Welcome back to another episode of the Prospects Live Dynasty Show. Thanks for joining us on YouTube if you're watching there, or on your podcast feeds if you're listening there. I'm your host, Eddy Almaguer. I'm joined, as always, by my compatriots, Ralph Lifshitz and Mason Thompson. Boys.
Changed my first name, huh?
Damn.
If you had to choose to listen to one song, but it's...
Oh man!
Let me phrase this better. Pitbull is the only artist in the world, and he sings every song. Or one Pitbull song that's covered by every artist. Ralph.
We've asked this show on this question on the draft show a bunch of times. Yeah,
that's right. I gave you that question. Well, by now, you got to have an answer.
Yeah, I think my answer tends to be Pitbull, and you have access to the entire catalog of all recorded and written music. I hate to say it because I feel like Pitbull would ruin like every song, but I feel like what could happen with having one Pitbull song played by everybody would probably be the fact that one person's version could make it awful. Like, if Pitbull's version didn't already make it awful, and it could just ruin the song, and you may never want to listen to music again for the rest of your life. So, like, I guess my hope would be that maybe Pitbull could have like some good versions of songs. Maybe be a little surprised. Maybe Pitbull does Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles, and you're like, holy crap, that sounds great.
I'm thinking now of like every MLB player walking up to Pitbull music, just different Pitbull renditions of different songs, and how wonderful that would be.
Country music and trap now, so
as someone
Ralph is going with the Pitbull is covering every song. Are you also there? Or are you hoping for every artist exists, but there's only one Pitbull song to cover?
As someone that doesn't listen to music, I'll go with the Pitbull sing every song.
Okay.
I don't really care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It would be the first time hearing a lot of songs anyway, so might as well.
I think I would go with every artist exists, but they cover just one song, because there's gonna be so many variations, and you have to think artists will get so frustrated with just one song, they're gonna chop and screw it every possible way they can and get something new out of it. Give us something else. Maybe they'll play the lyrics backwards or mix it around. So I think I'm going that route. But
backwards lyrics are always like my go-to when I'm thinking of like what I really like when it comes to music.
For sure. Especially when I want to get closer to Satan, and I think of backwards music, of the 90s and the hell that caused. But some food for thought for the listeners out there. Serious question to start off your Tuesday morning, which, by the way, as always, I feel like every time we got to make a disclaimer now because news is moving quick. We are recording on Sunday night. Just keep that in mind. If there's something huge that breaks, I will pop on and record an intro. But otherwise, keep that in mind. Some nice formalities to get through here, boys. Remember, rate us if you have a podcast platform. You can drop us some 5 stars. Please do. It helps us move up on the podcast rankings. We want to be the best Dynasty prospect show out there for you. And we're open to suggestions and your comments. But if you enjoy what you're listening to, please drop us a good review. Drop some 5 stars. Share it with your friends who you don't share leagues with. And thumbs up for you. We do have an Instagram account at Prospects Live. So make sure you're following us on there. We share, of course, video of all the young bats we're seeing, primarily a lot of MLB draft guys right now. That's kind of been a focus of ours for the last few months. And this past week, if things you might have missed on prospectslive.com, the big one, Ralph, you and Joe, you expanded your MLB draft 2021 rankings from 100 to 150.
Mm-hmm.
Give us like a brief kind of like 30-second breakdown. What were the big changes and what, I don't know, 100 to 150, slowly climbing, and it's to keep climbing, correct?
Yeah, and I think, at this point, the rankings are really fluid. Things are going to change. I mean, we have a whole host of time, obviously, until the draft. It's August. The draft will take place in, early to mid-June next year. So a lot of stuff's going to change. Hopefully, we have a full high school season next year. Hopefully, we have a full college season next year. I know fall ball is getting going in just a couple of days for a lot of these teams. I was out at a park checking out some players, a couple of top, we'll say day one guys, and Cody Morissette and Sal Frelick recently. But I think really what happened is there's some prep guys, like maybe a James Wood, Andrew Painter, some of these other guys, Chase Petty, that have really cemented themselves as sort of the top performers over the course of the showcase circuit. We really only have the PG National event left, and then whatever that New Balance event is at Fenway Park. If that does actually happen and take place or not, I guess that's still open to some interpretation. We'll see what happens there. But and a lot of college guys got added. There's more reports sort of coming out about, you know, who's working with who, where they've worked. There's one guy in particular that's a local kid to me that's, you know, because he's local, he was able to have access to Cressy over in Hudson, Mass. And that's Sean Burke. He's a 6'6" pitcher from Maryland. He was actually a high school teammate of Ian Seymour, who was obviously a raised draft pick in this past draft, I think a second rounder. So he's really interesting. He's another guy that could potentially pop, you know, Maryland arm when we haven't seen a ton of him. But yeah, there's a lot of guys moving up, and I'm sure some of those guys will move back down, and other guys will, you know, assert their dominance over the course of the next couple of months, because we're going to have another sort of shutdown period with this draft thing where, you know, the winter comes and there's obviously not a lot of events, not a lot of games. Guys could sort of emerge from that sort of second cocoon with sharper skills, duller skills, better bodies, worse bodies, you know, all across the board. So, yeah, I'd say just, you know, a lot of players got added. We have the list now up to, I think, 650, but probably only have it ranked to about 220 at this point. So we're going to keep on dropping maybe 50 by 50 by 50. And then, you know, by next year at some point, we'll be out to 500.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, certainly. And you know, if you are interested in learning about the 2021 draft class, we do, of course, have the MLB Draft Show with Ralph and Joe Doyle. They've been crushing it, and they have weekly interviews with either players, big players too, or you know, expert scouts like Brian Sikowski and Vinny Servino. The most recent episode with Vinny Servino. I was listening to you guys wax poetic about James Wood. Still ways out, guys, but if you're listening to this, James Wood is a 6'6" monster with power and a strong hit tool. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Tease you guys listen to the most recent podcast with Vinny Servino, Ralph, and Joe to get the full info on that. And of course, past the 150 2021 list, Ben Chase dropped a really cool article. It was kind of a tutorial on what to look for if you're video scouting at home. Ben Chase has done hundreds of these video scouting pieces, so he's I'll call him an expert with video scouting, and we're doing a lot of that, you know, with COVID. And we have no choice but to kind of resort to the video on our laptops, on our computers, on our phones to kind of take some information away. So Ben Chase, he dove in, gave you some tips on what camera angles to look for, what to be wary with those camera angles, how you can maybe scout fielding with certain camera angles, how you drop backs. A lot of great information there. So give that a look. We have a ton of big league debuts. Every time someone debuts that you know, worth mentioning, we try our best to get it up within 24 hours. So Lewin Diaz, Alec Baum, Dylan Carlson, Keibert Ruiz, Luis Garcia, all these guys in the last 48 hours as of Sunday night, 72 hours, all got pieces up there. We go through their tools. We give you a prediction for the season, and we give you a little bit of a fantasy impact as well. So be sure you're following along in there. I know there's a lot of great content of that sort, but we pride ourselves in kind of giving you the nuanced takes that you might not find elsewhere. And finally, kind of speaking of the video scouting, Trevor Huth has picked up a new series. It's called the Pitcher Rewind, where he takes someone from last season or prior, usually last season's better, and he just kind of breaks it down in GIFs, looks at pitches, how someone's reacting with the pitches, what can you take away from a start. Eric Pardino, the preternatural Blue Jays right-hander, is his first iteration of the article, so go take a look there. And yeah, a lot of good content this week on Prospects Live. Okay, boys. News is kind of light this week, just like last week. Marcus Strowman opted out. That was kind of kind of shook the baseball world a little bit. Some people had some gripes about whether he was waiting till he met the
reverse service
cutoff.
time.
Yeah, the cutoff for service time to then be a free agent next year, which he will officially be a free agent. He gave the Mets officially 11 starts in exchange for Simeon, Woods, Richardson, and Anthony Kay. I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly, but make of that what you will if you're a Mets fan. But the big news just right before we got on, Bo Bichette, unfortunately, word is his knee sprain on his right knee is worse than anticipated, and it could keep him out 1 month. And 1 month that's almost half a season, unfortunately. It's kind of a bummer. Bo Bichette, he had that big 5-hit game versus the Marlins. He was breaking out and has an OPS over 1,000. and just honestly looked like looked like a superstar, essentially, to the point where we were having discussions among us guys where, is Bo Bichette better than Vlad Jr.? And I don't know. Ralph, I think you are in that camp already of Bo Bichette over Vlad Jr. I don't think I'm there yet. Matt, I'll come to you, but Ralph, real quick, Bo Bichette versus Vlad Jr., we're talking real baseball here. If you want to give a little bit of a fantasy spin, go for it. But tell me what you think.
Yeah, I think, certainly for I think for both, it's Bo right now. I mean, obviously he got injured and it sounds like it's worse than we initially anticipated. He could be out, for essentially the remainder of the season, or at least the remainder of the month. Could be a month out, which right now, I mean, we're pressing up on with the last 30 days or so of the season within a couple of weeks. So, you sort of got to make those moves that count. So, I mean, he's obviously going to hurt you, but I think just taking a step back, looking long term, Vlad's weight is an issue. And I think when, we saw it in spring training, when he was in shape, he looks a lot better. He's a lot more explosive at the plate. I think the fact that they moved him off a third, he doesn't have to worry about the defensive responsibilities any longer. This season might be a little lost. Buffalo's going to be a great place to hit. So he may still have a really good season. But there are some concerns. I think, he doesn't elevate as well. His swing isn't as violent when he's this heavy. And I think that's really what's weighing him down. Just from like a scouting perspective of what we saw a few years ago, I think I mentioned this earlier in the week when we were talking, or somebody else. And I think it's sort of, a conversation of like projection versus polish, where, 2 years ago in New Hampshire, certainly Vlad had projection left, but there was just a ton of polish there in terms of the kind of prospect he was, where Bichette, though production was there, it was much more like raw tools and there was more projection. You're like, with his bat speed, he's going to add a little bit more weight. He's going to add more power. How good is the hit tool? And I think ultimately that's what it comes down to is Bo's hit tool has been a full grade better than what I thought initially it would be out the gate. He's been a plus hit, maybe even a little bit better. And that's sort of translated. And he's, added that weight. He's added the power, and he can still run. And obviously he's a shortstop. So I think in real baseball, better bat, an actual defensive position, like in actual position, let alone, a middle of the diamond sort of position. So, I think it's Bo right now. And I hope that changes, but Vlad's really going to have to get in shape, and he's going to have to, honestly, the way the production's been coming from Bo at the shortstop position, to be better, he's going to have to be like a 330 hitter with 35 home runs, right. Or a 320 hitter with 30. I mean, because if Bo's a 300 hitter with 25 homers, then and he's playing shortstop, you got to really, really do something to be that
and
special.
Speed.
So he's got to be Miguel Cabrera.
Bo Bichette has some of the best hands. Just hand speed is almost Javi Baez level. I don't know. It's up in that kind of rare air. But I'm going to echo a lot of what Ralph said. The biggest thing for me, I'll keep it short. Toronto must have got fed up with – I'm assuming things here, so take it for what – going into regular spring training, Vlad was still going to play third base every day. Then we come back from this layoff, and I think the first day after when first day that the new camp opened up, we had an announcement that he was going to be first base and DH. Right. So this must have been something that they were working with him, trying to maintain like his body, and it must have just went the wrong way. And they just kind of got fed up and kind of threw their arms in the air and said, "You're first base DH now." And, Bo's the shortstop, and Bo's the better shortstop than I think people thought he was going to be. I think that adds to it as well. A lot of what Ralph said. I mean, to be a shortstop with that kind of hit tool, it's going to be hard. Vlad's got to, excuse my language, but he's got to, I won't say it, but he's got to hit. He's got to hit, and he's got to elevate. And like what Ralph said.
And you guys have been alluding to it. I'll kind of pair some numbers to kind of enforce both your arguments. Vlad, right now, he's hitting the ball really, really hard still. That's never been in question with him. 92 exit velocity, which is, I think, like top 30% in baseball. And his hard hit rate is about 50%. So those numbers alone are just really, really good. The problem, 60% ground ball rate. I think I saw a tweet from someone that said this is Vlad Jr.'s season summarized in one picture, and it was a 113 mile per hour ground out is what it was. And Vlad Jr. I don't know. Like I have to imagine. Like we see this, guys. Like we see this. Like the Blue Jays have to know there's a problem with elevation, and this was something he ran into last year as well. So I don't know if they're just going to chalk it up to, hey, Vlad, just kind of play out the season, and we're going to work on it in the off season. But my goodness, the moment this guy knows how to lift up his launch angle, there's a 30 home run floor there. For fantasy, it's Bichette pretty easy. I'll admit I was skeptical of the steals coming into the year. He had 4 steals all of last year when he debuted. He matched that already. So that kind of goes to show what kind of the aggressiveness he was playing with. And this is someone who legitimately could be a 2020 threat in a year. There's a lot of shine on Fernando Tatis Jr., rightfully so. But Bo Bichette, man, he's not that far behind. Matt, you going to wrap up with something?
I was going to drop the name that you put on him in our text chain, but I won't do that to him. If you're listening in fantasy, if you lost Bichette, I'm in one league that I lost in the league I want to win the most, unfortunately. I think Joe Panic might be the one that steps in now. I don't know if he's much of an option of anything, but on your wires, look for Andres Gimenez, maybe keep those deals going. Eric Gonzalez from Pittsburgh, he's someone that I'm kind of snagging up in a couple leagues. His numbers look really nice, good exit velo, and I know Pittsburgh hasn't played a lot, but we'll kind of see what happens with there. And we lost Ralph apparently, but we have that nice little freeze frame where he looks very pensive. So we'll keep going away from to kind of bounce back on. I'll take him off from the show as we keep going on. That was a good name though, because I mean, no one's going to replace Bo Bichette. You're not going to get that kind of value, but you just kind of have to decide what you need more. If you need stolen bases, and you go to Andres Gimenez, I think that's a logical fit. If you need, even somebody like Asdrubal Cabrera could play up the middle for you, he's been productive. Why not ride that out? Luis Garcia, not going too far away from that. Nationals guy, another guy that I think you dropped his name before in the pre-show. Like he would work.
That's right.
A lot of Cardinals probably got dropped. Colton Wong could be out there. Tommy Edman, you got to go now if you want Edman. But a lot of those guys might have got dropped because they haven't played in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, sure. I think there's some options there.
Yeah.
Not as dynamic as Bo, but I think you can kind of patchwork it. All right, let's move on to our kind of rookie reactions, kind of the big guys that made debuts or players that have been playing really well, really poorly. Matt, we'll kick it off with you, my friend. Dylan Carlson finally came up, almost by necessity. They couldn't deny it anymore. You dropped your big league debut piece on him, so I'll urge readers to go read that to get a complete profile look. But with Dylan Carlson, have you seen his at-bats early on? Have you kind of picked up on anything? Like anything?
Yeah. He's been great, man. His first big league hit, we got the double in the right field. Like, and that was I know it's a corny saying, but that was a professional workman like at bat. He grinded, that was down in the count early, worked it back, fouled some pitches off, and hit a line drive and down the line for a double. Then today he was facing a lefty against Dallas Keuchel, and he hit a base hit as a right-handed hitter to left field. He's already shown hits from both sides of the plate. Made a really strong defensive play. He runs the bases really well. We've already seen that. No stolen bases, obviously, but going first to third on hits and stuff like that. He's already given them a jolt. I mean, that overall team, I think, with Harrison Bader struggles offensively, but Carlson might be the best all-around athlete, maybe outside of Tyler O'Neill. And you look at somebody like Tommy Edman, and he gives them a little jolt. So I hope Carlson – they've already said he's going to play every day. Essentially every day was the quote from Mike Shilton. They said he's going to play all 3 outfield spots. He played center today, and in yesterday's doubleheader, he played left and right. So he's been everywhere. 3 games in 3 different positions. So outside chance he hits his way up into the top of the lineup. So with Pache Young injured, obviously there's no concern over Carlson because the big thing always was, is there a spot in the outfield? Is there a spot in the outfield? But now it seems like Fowler, Bader, and O'Neill and Carlson, 3 outfield spots plus the DH. I mean, if you're a fantasy owner moving forward in a redraft league, is there any concern about? There's 2 guys that are roster out of that group, Carlson and O'Neill. The other, Bader and Fowler, I think are going to be the 2 that are going to rotate out more than those other 2.
So this is it. Carlson's here for good.
I would assume there's no. Yeah, I'm not being a homer or anything when I say, but I think he's the best all-around outfielder. I mean, you can
predictions. So by the time this podcast goes out, FAAB will have run for everyone. Ralph, I'll kick it back over to you very quick. Predictions on Dylan Carlson's FAAB percentage.
Oof.
We'll find out in just a few minutes if we're right or not.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be like 10%, maybe.
I'm gonna say
like
more.
total FAAB, like allotted, not necessarily what's remaining. So I'm thinking like $10 out of 100, $100 out of 1,000. Will probably vary, but I'm going to say that's what the average will be. I think some people will be under there. I think some people will be over. I can't imagine anyone's dropping like 250, 300 on.
I was going to say 20%.
Maybe I'm wrong. You think he's going to play that much? Like
I do. Yeah, I do.
I wouldn't have that much confidence that it would be more than like a week or two.
I think he's going to play every day. And
what gives you pause, Ralph, in terms of like what might intrude on his playing time?
Well, why wasn't he up to begin with? You know,
we're not going to say why, but I think we found out what the real reason why is. They wanted to get that extra year.
I'm going to guess they're still going to play some of those vets in the outfield.
Sure.
You know, so it's going to be O'Neill, Carlson, and Fowler. They're not going to play Bader at all. I mean,
Bader sat today against the
COVID. They're going to come back too. So
Lane Thomas.
It's the Cardinals. Yeah. I don't trust this at all.
No, I get it, man. Just ask Tyler O'Neill how much you trusted. I mean, the dude.
Tommy Pham was like 29 by the time he finally got an opportunity,
and he was productive on top of it.
They're like, you need to be one of the top 20 players in baseball before you're starting on this team, Buster.
Yeah, well, then maybe we'll buy you one of those fancy exercise bikes you want.
Yeah.
All right,
let's
keep it. I think I'm more in Matt's camp. I think Carlson's kind of here to stay, and they're going to give him some run, some leash, and kind of hopefully this is the start of the Dylan Carlson era in St. Louis. All right, another era began. This time in Philly. Alec Baum got the call. Man, I love Baum. I tweeted about him. He was my personal number 11 prospect. I forgot where he was in our top 500. Let me pull him up here. And just reference to
number 20.
Number 20 in our top 500. And just to give some reference, Dylan Carlson was number 11 in our top 500 in our prospect list. And so Alec Baum got the call for Philly. He's playing every day. So far, 4 for 15 in the early going, couple doubles, couple RBI, only a couple strikeouts, just one walk. Guys, I absolutely love Alec Baum. I think he's one of those. I'm not talking like body comp or like skill comp, but output, I'm thinking this is like almost like the Eloy Gimenez of the NL. Someone who has big power, someone who has not as much power, of course, but who can hit for average as well. I don't know. I have no concerns about Alec Baum right now. I'm extremely high on him. I'm biased, and I wish I had him on every team. Ralph, some quick snippets on Alec Baum. Are you as high as him as I am? Are you have any concerns about Baum moving forward this specific season?
I mean, it's once again, it's like he's going to play every day. He should, especially with the DH in the NL. I know he was playing some third base as well, but I think I would still start Segura at third over him. But
he had a hamstring injury, unfortunately, so we're kind of
Segura was playing yesterday, wasn't he?
Segura's been playing second.
He suffered it Sunday.
Okay. Well, there you go. It was my son's birthday. I wasn't watching.
No, you're good.
You could have told me that ahead of time. Thanks a lot.
They got a lot of versatility, man. They've got people moving around all over the place.
All right, so maybe he plays third. I know somebody saw him make a catch over like his back shoulder.
That was
a relatively easy play. Like he just had to run it out. They were acting like he was Willie Mays. Was that you, Eddie? Who said that? Somebody said that, and I looked at it. And I was like, you have not seen Alec Baum play third base.
No, he's more athletic.
I'm here for the bat.
Yeah, no, it's totally about the bat. But if he's got everyday run, whether it's sometimes in the lineup and DH, then I should probably go in and put a bid in for him right now.
Sure, why not?
The thing that was impressive for me about Baum, I did this call-up piece. 14% strikeout rate while being a legitimate 30 homer power threat.
Mm-hmm.
Uses legitimately all fields. That spray chart I tweeted out is.
Yeah.
If you didn't know who he was, you would have a hard time figuring out if he was a left-handed or right-handed hitter. I mean, that's no exaggeration. That's what the spray chart looks like. And his minuscule swinging strike rate on top of all that. I mean, this is like 7.5% swinging strike rate or something like that. Like it's absurd. Like I
don't know, man. I'm kind of surprised people aren't more high on him. I'm just being honest.
He's built like Chris Bryant. Has a good body count, like a long, lanky, but powerful, faster than you think he is. He's not as athletic as Chris Bryant, but he's in that kind of tier.
What is he running? Because I mean, last year when I saw him, I mean, he was kind of a station-to-station runner.
He's not going to be. Yeah, I put him down for 40 runner, but like he's not going to run like Brian, like I said, but he's got that kind of athletic build to him. He's sneaky, not real first step quick, but once he gets going, he's not going to kill you. If that explains it at all. But I like him a lot, man. And I kind of wish we ranked him a couple spots higher in our top 500. But it is what it is, and I think he's going to hit, and he should play. As you mentioned, Segura's kind of been moving to second, and Kingery is going to center. Is from what I've been reading. With Hazley out, Adam Hazley comes back. Kingery's been scuffling really bad, so maybe Kingery goes back to the super sub spot, or he goes to third and Baum DHs. But either way, I think he's here for good this year.
Speaking of here for good, let's segue on to someone who is going to be on that Padres roster for, I think, have to be a decent amount of time based on the early going here. Jcronenworth, guys. Let me give you a slash line because I don't think you think it's as good as it is. In 49 plate appearances, 311, 367, 622. I mean, the BABIP is pretty straight, pretty normal, 324, 8% walk rate, 12% strikeout rate. This is someone who's been a really, really nice addition for this team, and it's kind of been an expert utility man. He started the season playing a lot of first base, but recently he shifted over to playing some second base, playing some shortstop, a little bit of third as well. In fantasy leagues, this guy is turning out to be, especially in daily leagues. In daily leagues, he's shining very bright. Someone who's racking up all the eligibility you would want. He can plug and play on your injuries. For example, if you lost Bo Bichette, this is someone who you might be able to sneak in there soon enough into that role. Jcronenworth, I'm kind of in there, man. He was lauded for a big hit tool.
Yeah.
The power is kind of sneakily showing up too, though. And once again, it makes us wonder, man, like these hit tool guys, should we just be kind of giving them an artificial bump in power because there's something there that they're just going to unlock when they get to the majors or something? Matt, Jcronenworth, brief thoughts. I know maybe his drawback is he isn't exactly starting every day, and then when he does, it's kind of he's hitting 7th recently. But
right,
you got to be really encouraged with what you have if you own him.
Yeah, I mean, 15.5% K rate last year, and with AAA Durham, 12% walk rate, 6% swinging strike rate, 12 stolen bases, 10 home runs. He does a little bit of everything. I think the plus tool is the hit tool. I think he might be a plus runner as well. I don't know if that's going to shine through in the numbers wise. And I think he was kind of a gimmicky guy because he got a lot of publicity for being able to pitch too. But if he keeps hitting as well as he's going to, he's not going to have to worry about that. It's not going to be a thing they're going to use anymore. He's one of those players that I think you nailed it. The hit tool guys are starting to pop a little bit, and maybe he's this year's version of Tommy Edman, kind of hit the ground running and play up the middle and help you out everywhere.
I want to keep this moving, Ralph. I want to go for you to Andres Gimenez. Andres Gimenez, I think Jonathan Villar eventually tied him, but 6 steals on the year for Gimenez from someone who isn't really a true burner. I'll admit, I kind of expected nothing out of Andres Gimenez. I'm pretty sure on this podcast I called him a slap hitter and didn't give him a second thought. I moved on to whatever topic we were talking about. Now, he kind of still is that person, but he's being extremely valuable in fantasy. I think he had 3 straight games with a steal. He's up for FAAB in a lot of leagues this week, so I'm curious to see what that price is like. But Gimenez, is this just fool's gold with the steals, or are the Mets just saying screw it? If he's running and if he's stealing, just let him keep doing it? What are you kind of expecting out of Gimenez down the line? This was the AFL. Was he the MVP or at least the batting champion?
Batting champion. Yep.
Batting champ. Gotcha. So
great interview on our YouTube feed with Jacob. Jacob Zwieback did an interview with Gimenez. It's really good. So check that out.
Ralph, what you got on Gimenez, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think there's a ton of power there. But in terms of steals, I mean, he's had the green light. I mean, he's had the green light in the minors too. He wasn't as efficient as he's been thus far. He still hasn't been caught, obviously, in 6 attempts. He's got 6 steals. But, he stole 38 bases between 2 levels in 2018. He stole 28 bases in AA. He's got 38 total stolen bases across, I think, around 150 AA games. So, and we typically say that, competition-wise, that might be the most talented level of the minors. Yeah. Faced a lot of good pitchers last year in the Eastern League. It was sort of the opposite of the 2018 Eastern League. 2019 Eastern League was stacked with really, really talented arms. A lot of top 100 guys that were in there. Guys that are in the majors now like Spencer Howard. Guys that we were looking to see in the majors like Casey Mize and Matt Manning, as well as a host of others. So I think it's, we should probably keep that in mind a little bit. But I have a bid in right now. It's going to be my biggest bid that I've put out there yet in terms of TGFBI. And my pending bid on him, I believe, is $175. I don't know if I'll get him. I think it's probably a chance. A lot of people have been spending more so than anything else. I'm not even sure if I'm necessarily going to start him right away. I might, but I just don't want anyone else to get those steals.
No,
I don't buy the power surge. I know the numbers early kind of pointed to him hitting the ball in the air more. That's come down to earth a little bit more over the last couple of days. He's going to be heavy ground ball. He's 46% ground ball rate now. He's going to pull the ball a fair amount. He added a leg kick. He had sort of an exaggerated toe tap that was bordering on a leg kick prior to this. He's just engaging the lower half a little bit more. It's allowed him to sort of close off a little bit more when he's swinging, and I think that allows him to keep his hips and his hands sort of in time, which was a big issue last year. And he's also playing in the heat. I saw him last year really early I think it was the first time he maybe had ever played in like 30-degree weather. And the dude legit had on like a face mask and a hood, pre-COVID face mask and a hood, long sleeves. I mean, he didn't have an inch exposed to that New Hampshire heat, and I was there shirtless. So,
damn. Well,
I'm hairy.
I hope you get him. I think you will get him for 175. If I'm being honest. But yeah, steals are steals at this point, guys, and you got to take them anywhere you can. So certainly Gimenez should be on even in 12-team leagues, I would say.
Real quick, is your long-term optimism for Gimenez changed at all? Or I should rephrase that. Has your long-term outlook of Gimenez changed at all based on what he's been doing in the big league level this year?
Not really.
I think it just accelerated the timeline a little bit.
Okay.
I think he could be their second baseman because right now Robinson Cano is not a thing, and I don't think he is going to be going forward. That's going to be an albatross on that organization for a little bit.
It already is.
It is, but it's going to be even worse when he's retired.
Yeah.
Cashing checks.
Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he can sort of fit into maybe even – I don't want to say Jonathan Villar because I don't think he's going to have that sort of power.
Yeah.
And more in terms of raw totals. But, maybe he can get like 10 to 15 homers a year or something like that. So I guess maybe it's possible. He's only 21. He's still very young, doesn't turn 22 until September. Maybe keep that in mind. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get those man muscles, all that sort of thing. So I wouldn't totally write him off. I'm trying to think of like an actual good comp in terms of production, somebody that could be decently high, maybe like an Elvis Andrus. Like I think he could kind of be like Elvis Andrus. I think that's probably a good comp. The batting act could be pretty good. He'll have up and down years, but there'll be like enough power and counting stats for it to matter with the 25 to 30 steals potentially.
I think that I like that a lot, and maybe the true comp. I like the Andrus comp.
Wong, maybe another one.
Yeah, the true comp. Yeah, it could be what they hoped Ahmed Rosario would be.
Yeah,
that's been all right.
You taking a walk yet?
Gimenez isn't going to walk a lot either. I mean,
I think Gimenez has walked maybe.
Ahmed Rosario has not taken a walk yet in 66 plate appearances.
And there's some consistency issues with Rosario on defense too. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gimenez,
Rosario was a 3-WAR player last year too. So
that's true. And he's what, 22,
I hope above average offensively last year. So let's not get caught up in the sample sizes. I know it's 2020 and we got to overanalyze. Like
you're right. No,
you're long-term outlook. I think I think he's going to be second base. I think Ahmed sticks at shortstop. That's a really good tandem. Really athletic. Really, really exciting. So if I was a Mets fan, I'd be excited about the possibility of a Rosario Gimenez combination.
Yeah, that's fine. Just get some thumpers on the corners, which you already got one at first, and you got the infield covered. Got to make up
with Tom Smith.
Yeah, and JD Davis looks like a thing too. So you
may have to trade Alonso.
All right, so we're wrapping up the kind of rookie reactions. We got some fun buy high candidates coming up next, but Give me some one-liners, guys. Matt, I'm gonna give you Lewin Diaz, who I've kind of learned watching the podcast is pronounced Lewin. Not the podcast, excuse me, the broadcast.
Whoa.
Lewin Diaz is how they're pronouncing his name.
Wow.
Yeah, Lewin Diaz.
So apologies, I've been calling him Lewin forever.
Yeah, same. I'll defer to the Marlins broadcast if anyone knows they will. So before we went on. I did write his big league debut, but you said you were much more bullish on.
Yeah, I thought you were a little low on the hit tool there. So
I had it. What did I put? 45 current, 55 future.
Yeah, I was going to put 50, 60 on the hit. Maybe I'm too aggressive, but I think he uses all fields really well, better than you could hope many power hitters do, and he doesn't strike out. Swinging strike rate's not as high for a guy that I think can hit 25 home runs, and maybe I'm irrational, but I like Lewin. See, I'm in my own head now. Lewin, I'm a big fan.
Listen, he was our number 8 prospect in our top 30 Marlins, and I think
I even pushed you to put him higher if you did the Marlins, if I remember right.
He's a really solid profile. I think he's someone that when he's given a full season of at bats, he's not going to struggle very often. And the thing is, we're just not sure if he's going to be up here long term. By the time we listen to this podcast, he might already be down in the alternate training side. Corey Dickerson was on the bereavement list, which kind of that's why Diaz was recalled. So we
imagine hitting cleanup and getting sent down the next day.
Well, welcome to the Marlins 2020. Ralph, you had Keibert Ruiz. And you slapped him with a 30 power and he hit a home run. Said, "Shut up, Ralph. How's this for 30 power?"
I know, right?
That bad. One of the top prospects, catcher.
I agree with hitter. I agree with the power grade.
Same. Yeah. Hey, fluky. But give me some quick one-liners on Keibert Ruiz, what to expect this season, and maybe a quick little profile bite for those who are not familiar.
Yeah, I mean, if Will Smith is out for a significant amount of time, if I'm the Dodgers, I'd probably play this guy. I think the defense is good enough. I think we saw that today. He's certainly going to play for your DFS leagues, your streamers, that sort of thing. He's probably going to catch Dustin May every time.
That's it.
If he catches May really well, I think his receiving is good. I watched a 6-minute video 3 times of his receiving because I haven't seen Keibert Ruiz, unfortunately, live. But I pulled like 3 or 4 scouts that have been out in Arizona that have seen him. Most of them was like 2-3 years ago, so a lot of it was older. There's definitely some strength in the frame. There's elite contact skills. I mean, if you look at his contact rates, and I think I quoted it there, he was like a 90% contact guy in AA over the course of like 2 years. So the sample size was really large.
While being extremely young for the level.
That's elite. And there's not many guys that have done that. I know if you go back, Connor Kirkham, one of our good friends, had tweeted out a tweet that he had put out maybe back in 2018, so almost 2 years ago now, sort of talking about that 2018 season, putting it into historical context. And, it's another one of these times where maybe Jose Ramirez, Mookie Betts, some of these other guys we've brought up that are hit tool first guys that do find that power as they get stronger because of that elite barrel control. And really what it is it's elite launch angle variation. They do not have heavily varied launch angles, which is due to barrel control, etc., which allows them to tap into it a little bit more. So they make these tweaks, they get a little bit more strength, and the ball just plays off the bat a lot more. That was my concern with the hit tool too, was how much impact is this guy playing? You look at all the underlying stats, hard hit rates for the minors. You look at estimated fly ball distance. You look at the fly ball rate. All the ISOs. I mean, he had a sub 8.08. I mean, his ISO last year was like 0.073. In AA. So I didn't expect the power. It's been a year and a half really since we've seen him, or excuse me, it's been a 9 months, a year since we've seen him. Fall league, I guess, is 10 months ago. So 10 months since we've really seen a good sample, maybe even a little bit longer than that, because I think he did have a thumb break when he was in AAA that ended his season maybe like a month early. So in some ways, it's been like a full year since we've had a real sample size of Ruiz. Guys grow. He's been at the alternatives training site. It's the Dodgers. Anything can happen. He's not, if you need 2-catcher league, he's definitely worth a bid.
Yes.
I would have bid on him in TGFBI. I did get Gimenez, by the way.
There you go.
Let's say the TGFBI talk for later, because I'm going to be curious to see what your price was for Gimenez. Just to wrap up on this rookie reaction, I just want to throw out Monty Harrison. I've had a chance to tune into his at-bats. I'll kind of work on Prospects Live stuff and I'll put the Marlins on. It's not looking good, boys. His at-bats, he takes these violent cuts, and low in the zone, outside in the zone, high in the zone. The dude is just trying to hit a home run in every at bat. And his strikeout rate is about 45% right now. That looks too low from what I've been the at bats I'm looking at. He did hit that big home run off Will Smith to tie the game. The Marlins did lose that game on Saturday, but I'm crossing my fingers for Monty Harrison. But I think once this team keeps getting a little bit healthier, they're going to send him back down to the alternate training site. I'm just a little sad, so I want to get through that. Let's take a quick
LB 2.0.
No, please don't. Just Cristian, listen, man, I need you to break your leg and lose your leg or something to make this worth it. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have some buy high dynasty candidates for you. If you're in a dynasty league and you want to make moves, you're going for it this year, we have some names that you should be going out to chase, and we'll give you the reasons why. Back to the show, boys. We have dynasty buy high candidates. I'll start off first. Give you guys some time to mull on yours. So I'm in a lot of OBP leagues, so this person has drawn my attention. And Jesse Winker. I don't know if maybe Nick Castellanos or Luis Castillo or Trevor Bauer's antics have sort of, detracted from everything from the Reds, but Jesse Winker's numbers, I don't know if you guys have been tuning in, and as I put it in real quick here. Okay, so 365, 484, 712 is a slash line through 20 games. And I think over the last week is a 780 OBP, something stupid like that. And with Jesse Winker, I was looking a little bit deeper into his numbers. He's a completely different hitter. He's hitting the ball extremely hard. 94.1 miles per hour. Again, this is as of Sunday night. It hasn't updated with Sunday's nights, but you're not gonna. It's gonna stay around that same range. Right now, though, that's 11th in baseball, all of baseball, and it was 89 last year. That's 5 extra ticks of hitting the ball hard. He's putting it a little bit more, which helps. When you're hitting it harder and you pull the ball more, the home runs are gonna come, and that's why they're gonna come. But he's not pulling it so much that he becomes a liability into the shift. It's still about a league average pull rate. He just used to be a really either opposite field or up the middle type of guy. Now he's kind of leaning a little bit more into that power. Along with that power, you can hit the ball hard, but if you're not barreling it, you're not making the most of it. 15% barrel rate, that's 31st in baseball. To give you some comparison, last year, 4% barrel rate. And I was kind of looking at his heat maps, trying to figure out what's he changing here. It seems like he's laying off a lot of high fastballs, and he's really opened up the outer and lower part of the plate for Jesse Winker. I'm just really enthralled with the profile, you guys. I would buy high on Jesse Winker right now if I could. If you're in an OBP league, this is a top 75 asset moving the rest of the way. And if I sit down and kind of list some names, he's creeping into the top 50. He might already be top 50. I'm kind of just off the cuff here. A couple of things I did notice, just to kind of keep your eye out, though. I'll kind of give you the devil's advocate side of it. His whiff rates have jumped up. He's a little bit more strikeout prone, but when I say his whiff rate have jumped up, it's from his own career norms. So remember, Jesse Winker came into the league as a potential 70 hit tool guy, big on contact. The power wasn't going to be a big deal, but 12% whiffs when 11% is the norm of Major League, the MLB average. I'm completely fine there. But he is making significantly less contact across the board. Rafa, man, look at this drop in contact percent. This is probably what surprised me the most. He was about an 83% guy. Contact rate, which is think about I don't know, like a DJ LeMahieu. He's around that mark, 83, 85%. He's now at 63%, 68%, which is a huge drop, and that would have been bottom 15 in all of baseball last year. Now, that's not to say you can't still be a good baseball player with that contact rate. Nelson Cruz was around that line last year. You just got to be really selective and got to punish the pitches that are thrown to you, and so far he has. So that is a very long diatribe on Jesse Winker, but I think he's worth it. I'm trying to think of what I would offer up for Jesse Winker on a hitter basis. I'm putting myself on the spot here, and I can't come up with a good answer here. What about I don't know, Anthony Rizzo? Is are you guys leaning Jesse Winker versus Anthony Rizzo rest of the season, Matt?
Probably Rizzo, but I mean, what you're saying about Winker is true. I mean, he's hitting the ball harder. I think a lot of it is selling out for power, but I mean, why not when you're?
I don't even know if it's. I mean, it's still 21% strikeout rate. I mean, he's not even like striking out that much. I mean, I'm kind of impressed with what he's done this entire year. Ralph, Rizzo or Jesse Winker?
Rest of
Dynasty
season,
League.
I mean, I'm probably still going with Rizzo.
Okay.
Considering it seems like first base is tough, man.
Sure. Okay.
That's a tougher position than it's ever been to sort of fill a spot there.
Probably should have chosen an
about-
outfielder then.
Yeah. So I think that's tough.
Winker or Verdugo
I'm going to Winker.
for
I
Dynasty?
mean, I'm going Winker with almost everything you're picking here.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go Winker on that one too.
Okay, I'd probably go Verdugo, but okay.
I don't know,
I
man.
worry about Verdugo's power lines in Fenway Park.
With the humidor now, yeah, bringing the humidor.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Even without the humidor, he's a left-handed hitter who doesn't have 70 power.
Right.
Guys that have been successful as like lefties in that park, or guys like David Ortiz. You know, it's got to be somebody that has off the charts power that can put it, you know, on a shot to right field, 390 feet out to right. It's 370 pretty quick from that corner.
Right. No, you're right. It juts out pretty good.
Yeah, Pesky's pole that it darts out 50. If you're not a pull side righty in Fenway Park, it's not a great power park. Actually, it's a good BABIP park.
Fair enough. I agree with you. Yeah.
All right.
I want to kind of jot down a bunch of names. After the show, I'm gonna see where I would take Winker in outfield dynasty.
Take a look at his numbers, man. Winker, again, just stressing to the audience, Winker is a buy high guy right now. Like, and it might not I don't think it's too late. It might be a little bit too late given the huge week he just had. But I'm all in. This is someone who the power is here. This is no longer the Jesse Winker of 2017 where it was 300 average and like 10 home run power, 15 home run power. This is Jesse Winker, like 280, 290, and 25 home runs, and just a fantastic OBP, talking like 400 OBP is what he might be able to give you in a strong year. So consider that's a huge player. Matt, Ralph, either of you got someone thought up already that you want to offer up first?
Sure. So my guy who I would, if I own Jesse Winker, I would trade Jesse Winker for this guy. His name is Brandon Lowe. I think you might know him.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
And thing that's impressed me the most about him is I think coming into the season, we're like, he's a platoon bat. Ray's going to see these numbers. They're not going to hit him against lefties. Guys,
you just hit a home run for lefty the other night.
Look like against lefties right now because Brandon Lowe has turned himself into a lefty masher.
I did not know this.
He had a strikeout rate of 50% against lefties last year with a 2% walk rate. This year, short sample size, that is an 18.5% strikeout rate. That has gone down significantly. Yeah. He is hitting 375 against lefties with 4 of his 6 home runs coming against left-handers. Still can hit right-handers, hitting 292 with a couple of bombs there, 14 ribbies. You know, if we're talking some of these counting stats, but you look across the board, I mean, like 375, 444, 958 slug against lefties. Against righties, he's 292, 358, 583. I think the Rays may have a player here, man. I think this might be the best of the Lowe tribe to acquire over the last few years in the amateur side.
I like that, man.
I'm excited, man. I own him in
second base outfield too, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man. I mean, got multiple position eligibility. He hits for some power. He's probably not going to run a whole lot, but the batting average has been pretty good. This was a guy in 82 games last year that slashed 270, 336, 514 with 17 homers. Had about 5 steals, so he'll chip in there a little bit. But the contact's getting better. He's showing the kind of improvement that you want to see from a guy in year 2, where I think coming into the year, I was a little skeptical in terms of like, you know, what's this going to look like? How's it going to play long-term? His swing and strike rate has gone down 16.4%, still isn't great. Contact rate, he's around Jesse Winker. He's about 67%, zone contact 74, but he's shaved off about 6% from his O swing. So everything is sort of trending in the right direction with Lowe, and you know, he puts up some power numbers too. So he's a guy that I would buy high on in Dynasty, and I don't think necessarily everybody is seeing it for what it is. And maybe the fact that he's on Tampa Bay might scare some people off. I think you might be able to get a good deal on him.
Well,
I ain't trading that boy.
One of the big reasons people might be scared is because, like you said, Tampa Bay loves to mess around with platoons and stuff, but he started 5 straight games, played in pretty much almost all of their games. And I did not know, he just had a huge week, 4 home runs in the last week. I didn't know he improved against lefties. I'll be honest, I'm one of those guys who kind of overlooks Brandon Lowe. But is Brandon Lowe making me say wow right now, if I'm being honest? So that's a great call out. I personally, I'm still in the Winker camp, but Lowe has the eligibility that is big, and that's a good call out. I think you could definitely get Lowe cheaper than you can Winker right now, and that'd be big. You don't have to maybe expend as many prospects, as many picks. So good pick by you, my friend.
If neck length is a category,
Jesse Winker wins. He's the number 1 pick. Yeah,
I have another one too, but I'll let Matt go with his. But I have another one that I think is really interesting.
I went with a pitcher, so maybe I'm doing it wrong because you guys
not at all.
But what if I told you there was a 27-year-old starting pitcher that's in his 4th organization that I wanted to buy? Frankie Montas. He's never pitched 100 innings in his career, but I think a lot of that had to do with the incident last year that got him suspended. You're looking at a guy who's got 3+ pitches, his fastball, slider, and that nasty split. The biggest thing for me is he's missing barrels. He doesn't get squared up. I mean, we're looking at – I just had the number in front of me. I'm trying to find it again. Looking at another I think last year he had here it is, sub 4% barrel percentage. This year he's at 1.7% barrel percentage.
Hasn't given up a home run.
He's missing barrels. I know he just missed his last start. It looks to be a minor little thing, hopefully. But
he should be back today, Tuesday, when you listen to this.
He's a good guy to buy, I think, because he doesn't have the traditional innings allotment to be considered a workhorse for fantasy. But I think if you bought him being your number 4 or 3 starter, which is part of the cost, he might end up being your second, even your best starter, because I really like, and he's young, 4th team, started with the Red Sox, White Sox, Dodgers, and now he's in Oakland. So good for Montes, and I think he's found a landing spot. It's a good place with keeping missing bats, strikeout per inning. Walks are a little bit up this year. Maybe that has to do with that little minor injury he's dealing with, but I don't think it's anything long term. So Frankie Montes is my pick. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I know, Ralph. I know you're a big Montes fan.
Oh yeah, drafting him everywhere.
I think his price was depressed a little bit because of that suspension last year.
Yeah, kept the innings down. Yep.
So I'm all in on Frankie Montas. I play MLB The Show, so I'm investing in his card there. Yes, I'm a nerd with that, but if anyone listens to
here and in that game, he's like a 70, isn't he?
70. He was just bumped up to 78.
Yeah,
needs to be 80 so I can
80.
patch in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Montas. So here's something for you, Matt. Would you prefer Montas or Nate Pearson?
I mean, now you're gonna. I mean, I just told you. I'm gonna go Montas.
What about you, Rob? Montas or Nate Pearson?
Yeah, I think for the next 2 years, it's got to be Montas.
That's all you for Dynasty. You're looking farther than that for pitchers. You're doing it wrong.
Pearson's got to take his lumps. I'd rather a guy prove himself, and I'll trade back for him. I did that in a Dynasty League this week. I had traded a championship that I won last year in Devil's Rejects, the BP League with a bunch of those guys. I've talked about it a million times. I had traded away Brandon Woodruff and Max Fried in order to get back some other arms.
That hurts.
No, I won the championship. In order to get back some other arms, I traded back for him this week. One of the guys I traded was James Wood because I'm the GOAT and I pick up all these guys before anybody else does.
It's the yo-yo, little yo-yo move there. I love that.
Trade back for them when they're good, It's like the other guy's team isn't any good. Right?
Did you give him a ring? Did he get a ring?
I wish MLB teams would do that. I wish, wouldn't it be great if there were front offices that would do that, where they would trade a player to the Yankees, a pitcher, a right-hander, let him get good, and then trade him back. Sorry,
Somebody in the NBA did that. Somebody in the NBA did that. There was a obscure power forward named Joe Smith. And the Minnesota Timberwolves traded him to somebody, and then that team they knew they were going to cut him and he signed right back there. And then the next year they made a new rule that you can't do that.
Wow.
They used to do that every year. Same, like it would happen every year. The guys would get cut and then would like go back to the team at a lower number.
Yep. So,
but it's the Joe Smith rule. You're right.
Yep. There's your fun fact for the day.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
I got one more guy.
Oh, that's right. Give me your guy. Give me your guy.
New England baseball. Got to throw it out there. Mike Yastrzemski, dude.
Oh yeah.
Because I got to tell you right now,
I think it's real.
I'd buy into it. He has the highest offensive WAR in baseball at the moment. Mike Trout, no. Mike Yastrzemski, yes. He's got an 18%. He's got an 18% walk rate. He's got 5 homers in that park. The numbers we did last year, 107 games last year. He hit 21 home runs, /272, 334, 518. He stepped it up again this year, 304, 430, 433, 646. OBP leagues, Eddie, I don't know, man. I think he's still only 29. He's gonna turn 30 in a couple days, actually. 23rd. So he's got about a week.
That means he's gonna drop 50% in price. Once you hit 30, it's just an automatic 50% discount. I'm there for it.
So I got like 75% off then.
I think I would buy now because I think you could probably still get him for a relatively cheap price, and you might even be shocked by the team that owns him.
That's a good name. I like that name.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, his numbers are really good. 87% Z contact. He's 75% contact in general. 8.7% swing and strike rate. O swings 22%. You go into some of the StatCast data, it's not bad either. I mean, 10% barrel rate, 40% hard hit. Average exit velocity is about 88. Max about 105. Doesn't kill the ball, but he hits it hard enough. He's got enough of a launch angle. He's in that average, about 15.6%, which is fine in terms of barrels as long as you're, barreling stuff up at, 95 plus. I think he's a guy that can hit homers. He's not going to hit a ton, but I think he could probably hit 25 every year, give you a really good batting average. And if you're an OBP league, a ton of walks. I mean, there's not many guys that, even with a short sample, walk that much. And it kind of backs up his production in AAA, whether it was with the Giants last year or even with the Orioles. He was always like an 11% plus walk rate guy. It only gets better as guys get more time in the major leagues.
God bless
Evan White or Mike Yastrzemski, Dynasty League?
I think I'd trade White. If somebody was going to give me Yastrzemski for White, I would do it.
Yeah, especially if you're competitive now, because White's not going to help you.
Yeah. I mean, because even if White figures it out,
he's not going to do what Yaz is doing. So yeah,
exactly. You want to get those points. You could probably find another first baseman. And at this point, if you're starting Evan White, your team's probably not very good.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. That we have. Hope you enjoyed the buy highs. We got Jesse Winker, Frankie Montas, Mike Yastrzemski, and Brandon Lowe. So if those guys are in your league, I think for the most part, I think Jesse Winker might be the most expensive guy there. These are some pretty reasonable guys to buy high on. I don't think they should cost you that much. I don't think you need to expend like a Joe Adele to get any of these guys. So by all means, give it a shot. You never know how the other manager might, he might like Mike Yastrzemski. His owner might think it's like found money. Like, hey, let me just cash in. So
pretty much did. Honestly.
Yeah. So give it a chance. All right. Last segment, some brief call-ups. Let me give the audience some heads up. Apparently, Scott Merkin of MLB.com is saying Dane Dunning of the White Sox, righty, is a candidate to make a spot start on Wednesday, tomorrow, by the time this drops, against the Tigers. So that's a pretty good start. Good little streamer. The question is, how deep will he go? Remember, Dane Dunning had surgery in 2019, Tommy John surgery in 2019. His last full year was 2018. He had a strong year there. Low ERA, about 9.5K per nine. So I like Dunning. I think he's a nice kind of good SP4 upset of an SP3. Any quick little things on Dunning, guys?
Let's wait and see. Let's see what he looks like. It's been a while since we've seen him. He's had the injury.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's, if you own him in a dynasty league, activate him, throw him in the lineup, get some starts, chase those counting stats in this season. I'm fine with that. I'd probably wait and see before I'd stream him.
Where are they playing?
They're
Detroit.
See, that's not a bad streamer. I might actually take a chance.
Without
The
Cron.
problem is the Tigers a few weeks ago were hitting pretty well. So
We're at the point in the season too where like he could easily finish out the year. I'm not predicting it, but he could easily finish out the year in the White Sox rotation and not pitch a lot.
Mhm.
They were using Matt Foster as an opener for that 5th spot, but
that was a doubleheader, so I don't know. Oh well, yeah. So that might change things, but that's what they did this week.
Yeah, I'm here for Dane Dunning and his glasses. And second,
Rex Specs, baby.
Cristian Pache, boys, might get promoted to the big leagues in the near future, according to Gabriel Burns of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Remember, Ronald Acuna is hurt. I think, what was it? What was his injury? Was it a thumb? Or I forgot what he was dealing with. He's on the IL at the very least for 10 days.
Onion myositis.
Yes, jeez. And Ender Inciarte has an OPS like below 600 the last time I checked. So it's just a matter of injuries and ineffectiveness leads way to prospects. So Cristian Pache might get the call. I have my own thoughts.
Pache, I defer to Eddy. So
yeah. I have my own thoughts on Cristian Pache. I think he's barely a top 100 fantasy prospect. I think he's going to disappoint. Tremendous fielder, top 15 prospect in real life, but I don't want his bat. So I look forward to a 3 home run week when he comes up.
Yeah, no.
He comes.
Deep enough league, man, I'll definitely take a shot on him. Absolutely. And just see what happens.
You should play.
Stranger things have happened than Cristian Pache and hitting. So yeah.
All right. So I'll let the listeners know it's we're just past the hour mark. We like to cut it off here, but if you want to see us geek out a little bit with some TGFBI reactions, now's a chance. Boys, anything new? Anything did you overpay drastically in your league for anyone? And any immediate regrets?
I rebid on Tyler O'Neill after I dropped him and I won him back. So pulling a Ralph.
There you go.
127 was my bid, runner up 81. So I left some money on the table, but not as much as I did before. So I talked to Eddy and he talked me down. Thank you on that. Picked up Cardinals closer John Gant, picked up Mitch Moreland because I lost Jcronenworth for the year, and then I did a $1 speculative ad on Jose Quintana because he should be back soon.
Okay, Ralph, you had the big bid on Andres Gimenez. What was the result of that?
So I bid 175. Runner up was 125. So I did win Gimenez. Okay. I don't feel too bad about a $50 split there. Overshot it a little bit, but
that's fine.
Yeah, most of my bids have been like $1. I got Cronenworth for $1 last week. I wanted to change out my second catcher before Keibert Ruiz was available and just drop all my FAAB on him. Francisco Cervelli, I added him, dropped Jacob Stallings, who I had going there, who had completely stalled. So went after that one. I didn't win Freddie Peralta. He went for 51. I had bid 17 on him. There's one other bid that I didn't get. Tony Gonzalez. I had bid maybe 25 on Tony Gonzalez. He went for 85.
He went for 97 in my league with a runner-up bid of $8.
I tried to get Justin Verlander back. I bid $3, and he went for 101. But I was a runner.
Whoa! Oh, well, at least you're runner-up.
Well,
I had to drop my entire pictures.
I hear you.
As you guys know, last week I pretty much emptied out my wallet. I entered this week with $4. TGFBI is a league where there are no $0 bids, so $4 equals basically maximum of 4 moves. I spent $3 this week. I didn't expect to spend $3. It just happened. So I have 1 move left for the rest of the week. My 3 $1 bids were Nick Madrigal, dropping Marcus Strowman. I'm trying to get ahead early on that if he comes back. Eric Gonzalez, Pittsburgh. He's a guy that I think could be a good power bat.
One of those guys, is it?
Say it again.
I said it's hopefully sign an OBP league for Madrigal and Eric Gonzalez.
Yeah, no. This is TGFBI, all TGFBI. And how about this one, Ralph? I got Andres Gimenez for $1.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't have got him for that. So I needed to replace Luis Arias, who just really hasn't done a whole lot in my lineup. So I'm slipping in Gimenez at second base, and even if he moves to the bench in a week or two, somebody else on my bench gets hot. He's a guy that can fill 3 different spots, and in a league where you can change the rosters on Friday, your lineup, not your pitching, but your lineup. I think that's valuable. Somebody gets hurt, it gives me some flexibility. I now have backups at every position. Now that Carter Keibert is third base, shortstop eligibility, a bunch of outfielders. And one of these days, hopefully Josh Donaldson comes back. But we'll see.
Yeah, I have $1 left to spend, and I kind of really want to spend it now, just so I don't have to worry about TGFBI FAAB like anymore. But we'll see. We'll see who's worth that $1.
Who's your TGFBI staff ace? I'm not going to spoil the treat here. I'm going to tell you, mine is Randy Dubnak, and that's not a joke.
Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray for me.
Okay, that's an actual good pitcher.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes. I have Dobnak and Sonny Gray, so those guys are holding.
Yeah, my starters right now are David Peterson, Randy Dobnak, Alex Cobb, Brad Keller, Danny Duffy, and Framber Valdez. Because
you're heading straight to the top. That's what I'm hearing.
Jack Flaherty's actually.
Dude, I was ranked higher than you for a long time, and then I had a bad week, Eddie. I mean, give me a break here, man. I was first in my league in top 50, and then I had like
excuses. All I'm hearing here. All I'm hearing is excuses. I have $1 to spend, so that's my excuse.
Yeah, so I'm going to be ahead in like 2 weeks anyway because your entire roster.
There's a couple.
We'll see.
There's going to have $1,000 to spend. So
can't escape the COVID monster, buddy. It's coming for you.
I'm covered. I got Nick Madrigal, guys.
I didn't even think about that. You have $1 left with COVID.
Yeah, in this season,
power hitter Nick Madrigal is going to come back and
got a month and a half of the season left.
Home runs from Nick Madrigal left and right. All right, we're out of here, boys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. As always, hope you have a great week in fantasy baseball. Hit us up with questions if you have them, and stay tuned to Prospects Live for all the fun stuff. Remember to rate us, follow us on Instagram, and stay tuned for the website to a lot of great content of every kind.